Happening now on Grid Tonight. NASCAR handed down big penalties today against Hendrick Motorsports, Colic Racing, and Denny Hamlin. How will it impact the way these teams move forward this season? Jimmie Johnson will be back in the NASCAR Cup Series at COTA, and could another Formula One World Champion be joining the highly anticipated race alongside Kimi Räikkönen? Haas Automation is being accused of violating U.S. sanctions by continuing to do business in Russia. Could this latest bombshell spill over into the motorsports world? Hello to all our viewers watching in the States and around the world. Welcome to Grid Tonight, your weekly motorsports news program. I'm Kobe Lambert from the Podium Finish. With me is Joshua Birch, Casey Campbell, and Matt White from Grid Endurance Performance Index. We encourage everyone in the chat room to ask any questions you may have, and comments will display it on the screen. We have a lot of NASCAR. So, Josh, take it away with our top story this evening.
Thank you, Kobe. Hello, everybody. And during the last race weekend at Phoenix Raceway, NASCAR confiscated hood louvers from 5 cars before the race, which ultimately resulted in them handing down significant penalties. All teams involved were Chevrolets. All 4 cars from Hendrick Motorsports and the number 31 from Kalug Racing were hit with L2 level penalties for unapproved parts, modifications. That's 100 owner and driver points were docked from Kyle Larson, William Byron, Alex Bowman, and Justin Haley, plus 10 playoff points have been taken away. Since Josh Berry, who is replacing Chase Elliott in the number 9 Chevrolet, he won't be docked points because he is declared to earn Xfinity points. However, the number 9 team will still see a deduction of 100 owner points and 10 playoff points, along with a $100,000 fine for each car involved. All crew chiefs have received a 4-race suspension as well. That's Cliff Daniels, that's Alan Gustafsson, Rudy Foolish as well, Blake Harris, and Trent Owens too. I do apologise if I butchered anyone's names. I don't think I did there. NASCAR Senior Vice President of Competition, Elton Sawyer, also said that the severity of the penalties were right in line with the precedent set last season, with similar penalties handed down to Brad Keselowski and Michael McDowell. Photo taken there by Meg Oliphant by Getty Images. Now, Hendrick Motorsport has released a statement as well, saying for immediate release, Hendrick Motorsport statement, on Friday at Phoenix Raceway, NASCAR identified louvers on our race cars during a voluntary inspection 35 minutes after the opening of the garage and prior to on-track activity. NASCAR took possession of the parts approximately 4 hours later with no prior communication. The situation had no bearing on Saturday's qualifying session or Sunday's race. We are disappointed with today's decision by NASCAR to issue penalties and have elected to appeal based on a variety of facts that include the louvers provided to the teams through NASCAR's mandated single source supply do not match the design submitted by the manufacturer and approved by NASCAR. Documented inconsistent and unclear communication by the sanctioning body and specifically related to louvers. Recent comparable penalties issued by NASCAR have been related to issues discovered during a post-race inspection. And for the March 19 NASCAR Cup Series event at Atlanta Motor Speedway, our organization has made the strategic decision to not request deferral of personal suspensions. Team rosters for the weekend will be updated as soon as subject crews chiefs can be determined. So at the end of that, pretty much blah, 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 pretty much normal. But bringing in Matt and Casey into this, by the way, Casey, nice to have you again here on the Grid Show on tonight. If Hendrick Motorsport lose the appeal, do you think we'll see them showing more aggression, trying to get stage points and gambling to race wins?
I don't know. It's basically massive penalties. This is probably this is the biggest penalty that NASCAR has ever handed down. So, they've always said when this car was formed, remember what they said? Don't touch these cars, or you're going to get penalties. It's very consistent to what RFK got, what Front Row Motorsports got, what Stewart-Haas Racing got. They have an argument, and if you saw the press release that was on the screen, you noticed that. You noticed that they've carefully listed all their arguments for it right there. So They think they've got a case. They're going to go in front of the appeals the appeals panel, which is not in any way affiliated by NASCAR. So you may remember William Byron got a penalty last year, and it was actually he increased the fine and playoff points for intentionally wrecking Denny Hamlin at Texas. So, but after the appeal board heard it, they increased the fine, but didn't subdue the point penalty. So, yeah. And by the way, news from me, I'm going to be on Grid tonight full time, just so you know. I forgot to announce that. So I'm excited to be on here on Wednesday nights going forward.
Yeah, happy to have you as part of the team, Case. There's two of us now, newbies in the team over the last couple of weeks. It's a massive penalty, isn't it? And as you said, RFK got hit with at the beginning of last year with Brad Keselowski. Then we had the Hamlin and Kyle Busch Gibbs penalties at Pocono in the summer last year as well, which you didn't list off. So that kind of falls into the same category. I think from my reading of that statement, again, there as you popped it back on screen, was that first bullet point there. Louvre's provided two teams through NASCAR's mandated single source supply do not match the design submitted by the manufacturer, which I'm taking that Hendrick are saying that said parts have not been made correctly and they are only fitting what they were been given. I think that's kind of where that is trailing towards. But after another big week for the team with Byron winning, Larson probably should have won. They probably both should have been beaten by Kevin Harvick. It's a big deal. So yeah, big thing. They've got to now scramble for crew chiefs for the next few weeks, which will be interesting to see who they can pull from, if they bump some of the Xfinity crew chiefs up from Junior Motorsports maybe, or however they've got in reserve. I don't know what Chad Knaus is up to these days, but surely he can come out of retirement and run a couple of weeks. But big penalty for them. We'll see what happens. I mean, Justin Haley, of course, a colleague as well. I mean, he probably was in a must-win situation to get to playoffs. He definitely is now with this point penalty. Hello to Matthew Owens, who is feels terrible for Justin Haley. I have to agree. On our USRN preview show, we were giving a big push towards both the colleague teams getting to the playoffs with AJ and Justin. Justin Haley could be a big talking point this week at Atlanta. They'll go pretty well at Atlanta this weekend, the colleague cars. So yeah, big penalty, as you say, Casey, and this is just spoils the run that Hendrick were on after winning the last couple of weeks. It's put a bit of a dampener on their current form.
Absolutely, and being ducked to the 40 points as well. I agree with what Matthew says there as well. Now, another penalty that handed down was a $25,000 fine and a deduction of 25 drivers' points for Denny Hamlin after violating sections 4.4 in the NASCAR Members Code of Conduct, which covers attempting to manipulate the outcome of the race or championship, wrecking or spinning another vehicle, and actions detrimental to stock car racing. Now, what got Hamlin in trouble was his podcast, ironically titled as well, Actions Detrimental, which I found is fantastic. Now, during the restart in NASCAR Overtime in Phoenix, we saw another incident between Hamlin and Ross Chastain, with both drivers getting up into the wall together. Now, on Hamlin's podcast, he openly admitted that he intentionally put Chastain into the wall. Here's the audio.
I'm about to get passed by everybody behind me who's on fresh tires. I'm about to finish in the mid-teens. And I said, "You're coming with me, buddy."
Really?
I let the wheel go, and I said, "He's coming with me." And so I've said for a while, well, you got to do something to get these guys' attention, whatever, and I've said it, and I think that Ross doesn't like it when I speak his name in the media and when I had this microphone. But I told him, well, I have a microphone, and I'm going to call it like I see it. And until you get a microphone, you can then say whatever you want about me. But the fact is while I'm sitting here talking, I'm going to call things the way I see it, and sometimes I'm going to have to call myself out, which I'm the dumbass who lost just as many spots as he did. But at the time, I said, well, I'm going to finish anyway, and I'm just going to make sure that he finishes right here with me.
The video courtesy there of Dirty Mo Media. And I'm so done with this whole mess with Hamlin. It's always him and someone / him and something. I'm done. Enough already. That was from behind the mic, of course, with Matthew Owens. Well, I've got a microphone here, so I'd love to hear the other side of that story, guys. And I think you'd all want that as well. So if you want to come on the grid shows, we've got a mic for you anytime you want to hear. Now, in 2019, Bubba Wallace was fined as well $50,000 and lost 50 points after he admitted to spinning on purpose at Texas Motor Speedway to get a caution. So NASCAR has set a precedent: as long as you don't admit what you do was intentional, then they won't give you a penalty for it either. However, openly admitting to spinning on purpose or wrecking another driver, they'll show you now they'll react to that as well. Hamlin also said on his podcast that he felt like the feud dating back to last year with Chastain is over after the two drivers talked it out post-race. Now, Casey and Matt, bring you back in as well. Did NASCAR make the right call to penalise Hamlin, and do you really think his feud with Chastain is over now?
I mean, I think they did make the right call, because the thing is, it's like we've seen it, time and time again. I go back to the Byron penalty. You go back to what Bubba said in 19. I mean, if you say that, oh, I intentionally wrecked someone, yeah, you're going to get a penalty. He was going to get one as soon as he said it. So, I mean, it's been consistent, with that. It's kind of how they've been doing things in that area. So, yeah, he was going to get a penalty. And do I think it's over? I mean, they've said it's a truce for now, so I guess it is. But they're going to run into each other again, and then it'll start right back up again. So it's not over until it's over. So that means it's not over, and it never will be over. By the way, behind the mic says, has anyone done anything dumber than actually admit your guilt for NASCAR to drop the hammer? Good Lord.
Tell someone you love that you love them.
Yes.
That's always a dumber thing to do.
Yeah.
I think I was speaking a bit too close to home there. Matt, save us.
Yeah. Personal secrets coming out on air. I mean, would Hamlin have done what he did if he realised or was told that wasn't Ross on the outside there on that final restart? Who knows? Hindsight's a wonderful thing. I'll go back to Casey's, saying, is this over? Who knows? You go back to the Pocono incident in the summer when Denny ran Ross in the wall on that restart the exit of turn one, and Ross was out the race, and they interviewed him outside the care centre, and I can't remember who the guy interviewing him was for TV, asked him the question, is this the end of that now? And Ross was like, I don't know. This kind of feels the same a bit. There was also some comparisons I saw on social media yesterday, Tuesday, about a bit more now today, that why is Denny Hamlin not been suspended for this? Because Bubba Wallace took out Kyle Larson at Vegas last year and got suspended. Well, they're very, very different incidents, and at very different speeds, and not in the playoffs. So that can't really be a comparison. I don't know. Denny's always had run-ins with people, hasn't he? There was the Logano mess a few years back at Fontana, and then this Chastain thing's probably obviously been bubbling under for the last couple of years. I agree with Mr. Owens. This should now be. We're finished with this now. Let's move on and talk about something else. But yeah, who knows? Atlanta next week. There could be a bad bump gone wrong here, or at Talladega, which sends one of them in the wall in a couple of weeks' time, or a missed break at COTA and they're running close to each other. Problem is with these, it's not someone at the front of the field and someone at the back of the field that just end up tripping over each other from time to time. These are two very competitive guys. Hamlin's been in the hunt for race wins every week, and Chastain's the point leader. So they're going to be running at the front of the field and probably are going to cross paths again over the next couple of months and through the summer before we get into the playoffs. And if they're in it and we go back to Phoenix again and they're both racing for a championship, then of course they're going to end up running into each other. It's written in the stars, surely.
And speaking of stars, it's a nice segue into our next segment as well, which is about NASCAR at the Circuit of the Americas at the Lone Star State in Austin, Texas, because the 2009 Formula One World Champion Jenson Button will make his NASCAR Cup Series debut at the Circuit of the Americas on Sunday, March 26th. Button will drive the number 15 Ford Mustang for Rick Ware Racing with sponsorship from Mobil One, and the car will be prepared by Stewart-Haas Racing. He'll compete in a total of 3 Cup races, starting with COTA, then the Chicago Street Course and IMSA Road Course as well. Last week, we were just talking about Kimi Räikkönen returning to drive the Project 91 car for Trackhouse Racing at COTA, and we will have the 2 Formula One World Champions racing in NASCAR. The graphic courtesy of Rick Ware Racing. Blimey, I need things on that tonight. But guys, how valuable is it for the experience for both Button to get in the stock car on a road course in a race before he heads over to Le Mans with NASCAR to drive the Garage 56 entry? It's a good idea, really.
Yeah, let's hope that Thursday isn't the new news day, because then we have to wait a week to talk about stories after we talked about Kimi last week on the show, but we have to wait a week to talk about JB. He's been doing lots of testing of the Garage 56 car, that we know. They've been running at Sebring over the last few weeks, months. Obviously, we've got a big weekend going on at Sebring. We'll talk about that in a little bit later on in the show. But yeah, great to see Jenson. He obviously talked up his NASCAR fandom off the back of this announcement, and has been kind of looking at it for a while and wanting to try and get in there. Yeah, and a bit like Kimi coming back, which we talked about last week, is a track that he knows already, so that's something he doesn't have to worry about, and he's kind of got some sort of knowledge of the car. But testing is one thing, racing is certainly another. Again, they're not racing against any other NASCAR or stock car type cars at Le Mans. That's a single entry, so just again mileage under the wheels for Jenson, and it's good to see him in there. It'd be good for us Brits to have someone to cheer on in a couple of weeks at COTA, and everything Jenson's turned his hand to, he's done well in. Of course, world champion, Super GT champion, of course, a couple of years ago. He's been running in his own team in Extreme E, amongst other things. So yeah, good to see him. Another string to the bow for JB at COTA in a couple of weeks. It's going to be interesting to see how he gets on.
I really love this comment as well. That's just come up from Joe Samiego. If we get up, there we go. COTA is turning into an all-star event with 2 F1 champs, Taylor from IMSA, Jimmie Johnson. Who else can make it as well? I personally love Danny Rick. I've always said, I don't know why Danny Rick isn't there. I know the Project 91 car's sort of been taken, but Danny Rick as well.
Project 92 car.
Yeah.
A second Trackhouse car.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be a 4th Trackhouse car. So.
How about Project 93, but with the 3 bigger? So it's like a little 9, then a big 3. I mean, it is kind of him.
Yeah, maybe Shane Van Gidsenberg. I don't know. Maybe
Project 97 then in that case.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll throw it back to you, Casey, to answer your question.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think Matt White said it best. I don't need it's, but it is cool to see him back and see him in there. But yeah, one day, Danny Rick will be in full time. I've always said NASCAR. If you want NASCAR TV ratings to go up, get a former Formula One driver, and that would be that'd be it.
Yeah, but every time I see Formula One drivers in NASCAR, they just end up smashing into each other as well. Look at Kimi at Watkins Glen as well, or Juan Pablo Montoya as well. He was famous for smashing into things. He hit the jet track.
Jack Villeneuve in the nationwide races at Montreal many times.
Yeah, I mean, Villeneuve is literally all over the place all the time as well. But then again, is that just a question of Villeneuve or just Villeneuve in general as well? I mean, he was really at fault for that 97 accident at Jerez anyway. Oh, there I am. Hello, yeah. We've been having problems with the internet all day. Right, I better go on with this quickly then. On then as well, after competing in this year's Daytona 500, announcing that he'll run on the Chicago Street Course as well, 7-time NASCAR Cup Series champion Jimmie Johnson added 2 more races to his 2023 schedule in the number 84 Chevrolet for Legacy Motor Club. Now, Johnson's car will be sponsored by Club Vietham as well in those events. I take a breath there, guys. Now, first and foremost, he is joining the stars of the field at COTA, as we mentioned earlier with Matthew with his comments. And we'll also see him in the car for the Coca-Cola 600 at Charlotte Motor Speedway as well. Fantastic weekend we've got lined up there. The COTA Club entry list now includes Johnson, Raikkonen, Button, Connor Daly, Jordan Taylor, the graphic courtesy of Legacy Motor Club. And this is pretty much what we've already slightly talked about with Matthew putting his comment in. I'll ask it here again. Is the Cup race at COTA setting up to be a dream race?
By the way, Josh, it's Wyndham Rewards. That's how you pronounce it.
Wyndham Wood. Thank you. See, that's why I need you.
That is a hotel chain. A lot of Wyndham hotels in the area. Actually,
Wyndham.
I stayed in one when I went to Mid-Ohio earlier last year, actually. It was nice.
It looks Welsh. On my screen, it looks Welsh. Matt might get that. It just looks like it looks Welsh.
Yeah, it's I stayed in a travel lodge by Wyndham. It was nice. I didn't expect that, but I'm glad it did. It was it is gonna be a dream weekend for a lot of these things. It's like anytime you have anybody that raced in Formula One or come from that world, it's a big deal. So yeah. I think it is going to be, and COTA's just kind of turned into this track that everybody wants to race, and plus this car has kind of changed a lot of things where, everything's it's everybody Rick Ware Racing gets the same cars as Rick Hendrick Racing, so it is the opportunity's there, and I think you're going to see anybody will come and race in NASCAR. So as we've said, I think we could see a lot of drivers will come and race, and we'll know. Who knows? We could see some more.
Yeah, I mean, a year and 4 weeks into this season of the new car, and we've seen Raikkonen already once, Jenson coming, Connor Daly, Danny Kvyat last year. Plenty of people dipping their toe in the water. It's got, Casey, you'll know what I mean when I say it's got the smell of IROC about it, this COTA race coming up in a couple of weeks. All those big names, and they're all going to get beat by Jordan Taylor. He's probably my pick. He's not going to be my pick a winner, but he'll be my pick to win from this new group of guys when we get to COTA next week. Looking forward to it. Can't wait.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to be tuning in ready for that as well. I mean, it's a big day. We've got Formula E that weekend. Then we've got MotoGP season opener.
Yeah.
There's something else on that weekend as well. I can't remember what. But then, of course, we go over and we get this big NASCAR race. I swear I'm in the commentary box.
Is that weekend?
Say again?
I think World Rallycross is that weekend too.
Yes, yeah, I think so. And I swear I'm in the commentary box for that. Matthew, you're watching. I hope. Is it March 26th? We talk about it. I don't know if I'm in the commentary box for that, but if I am, COTA's going to be fantastic. Now, this is certainly a hot topic. In fact, you might say it's a red button topic as well, because in a report published yesterday on PBS NewsHour, Haas Automation is being accused of violating US sanctions by continuing to do business with the Russian arms industry. Now, according to NewsHour, RATEP, a weapons manufacturer in Russia that is part of the Almaz Attorney Holding, has been the subject of US sanctions since 2014. Now, NewsHour learned that RATEP is just one of several sanctioned enterprises in the Russians' arms industry that have been supplied with precision machining tools that was manufactured at the Haas Automation facility in Oxnard, California. Now, the founder and boss at Haas Automation is Gene Haas, who is also the owner of the Haas F1 team, and he's the co-owner of Stewart-Haas Racing in the NASCAR Cup Series. Now, in the past, Haas has had ties to Russia through its ex-Formula One driver Nikita Mazepin and his father Dmitry Mazepin. The Mazepins brought a Russian-based sponsor to Haas F1, Ukulari, which ended up departing the team, including Nikita Mazepin, following the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Haas Automation Vice President Peter Zerhardt denied the company was still doing business in Russia, although NewsHour said he sent them a statement last year claiming they had cut ties with its Russian distributor. If you want to read more about this story, we They've included the link to the PBS NewsHour article in the video description, the photo courtesy of Haas Automation. Matt, is this a bad look for Gene Haas, and could this story spill over more directly into his motorsports business ventures?
Just when you thought this story had finally gone away after, a year and a half or so, it's not good, is it? I mean, if you followed, and obviously we all did, and we reported on it here on the network over the last 2 years or so, the Uralkali, Haas, Mazepin interweaving of all kind of things has been interesting to say the least, and that I include the high-tech Formula 2 team in that over the last couple of years, and you just need to check out Company's House to see what's been going on between all that kind of thing that's been happening. So is this a real thing that has happened, or is this a swipe by Russia that they finally let the Mazepin thing lie for a little while, and now they've come up with this? I mean, they were trying to say on Russian TV last week that us in the UK are so short on food that we're eating squirrel because we're so short on food. So they will make up any old rubbish and try and pass it off as real. So I don't know where this has come from, who it's come from, and how PBS got their mitts on the story, but it's just messy, isn't it? And I'm sure as soon as Gene got word of this, he wasn't happy about it. So, and yeah, as I say, just as we've got kind of away from all this with the Haas F1 team side for certain, with looks like they're going to have a fairly better year from what we saw at Bahrain with Kevin Magnussen and Nico Hulkenberg in their team. This has come up, so hopefully it won't. Hopefully it stays at this kind of level and doesn't go across all the TV and stuff over the Jeddah weekend coming up.
And you also have to consider this too. It could also affect not just the F1 team, but the NASCAR team as well. Obviously, Gene Haas is the co-owner of that, and there's going to be a couple Haas cars that are going to be running this weekend in Atlanta. But yeah, it's I'm not sure how much steam this could get. Obviously someone got the exclusive story. I did watch the PBS NewsHour, and they did a really good job reporting all this. But we'll just have to see how this goes during the weekend. Obviously, we will monitor it here, right here on Grid Network, and we'll obviously report it right here on Grid Tonight.
Absolutely. We're going to be keeping an eye out throughout the weekend, as certainly it'll be discussed with Formula One, certainly across the practice sessions as well. Gunter Steiner, I understand, is also the guest on the Sky pit wall this weekend, so I'm sure we'll be hearing a couple of things from him. Yeah, it's going to be very interesting as well, unless they change it. But that was my understanding, that this weekend it is Gunter, Australia. I'm sorry, everybody. I think it's Christian Horner. I got a sneak peek at the look. So, moving on to that, here's Matt White with the latest Grid EPI update. Matt?
Yeah, we'll have more insert Gunter on the phone to Gene here. If you've seen Drive to Survive. Right, EPI time. The Endurance Performance Index. No races this past weekend. I think, I haven't 100% checked, but that is the final weekend until October when we have no EPI races. So from here on out, it is flat out in the Endurance Performance Index ranking. And we've got a massive weekend to come this weekend with the opening round of the Nürburgring Landstrecke Series on the Nordschleife on Saturday afternoon. But before that, we've got the World Endurance Championship kicking off at Sebring. They've had 2 practice sessions today, with Toyota topping both of them, but Ferrari were pretty close in the first one, so hopefully we'll get a half-decent race on Friday afternoon for the opening round of the World Endurance Championship. And then, of course, it's the IMSA Mobile One Sebring 12 hours on Saturday. So that's 3 big races coming up in the EPI this week, and I'll give you an updated top 10 look once all those results have been put into the spreadsheet at the beginning of next week. We have got, though, coming up this weekend as well, Rally Mexico, the 3rd round of the WRC season. We had a couple of rallies this weekend prior. The first round of the European Rally Championship was in Portugal. That was won by Hayden Padden. And also the British Rally Championship started its season up in the north of England, and they had snow. But Adrian Formo won there, and now he's on a plane to Mexico where he's going to have 30-degree heat to contend with in WRC2. But the big boys obviously there as well. for round 3. Oyt Tanak goes into this rally leading the championship by 4 points over last year's champion Kalle Rovanperä after Tanak's win in Sweden 5 weeks ago. Sebastian Ogier, the winner from Monte Carlo, didn't compete in Sweden, but he is back this weekend looking to win his 7th Rally Mexico event. He's the only previous winner on the start list. And as I say, he's got 6 wins to his name, looking for 7, which would be a new record for a single driver winning the same event. And that, as you can see by on screen, means it's time for pick a winner for the weekend, of which Ed now has a 3-point lead over a bunch of guys there on 4, including Kobe. Where am I? I've gone all the way down to 11. Goodness me. That's not good, is it? But I am going with Sebastian Ogier as my WRC bet for pick a winner this weekend. I've gone with the easy meat there, guys, I'm afraid. Sorry, he's got a good road position as well for the weekend, starting 5th. So that will help him on Friday. Let's see who you are going with then for pick a winner for WRC this weekend.
Yeah, I guess I'll start with my pick. As everyone knows, if you watch Grid Network programming, every time I pick Kalle Rovanperä, he never wins, and whenever I don't pick him, he wins. So I'm actually gonna go with the driver who got me a point earlier in the year. I think Sebastian Ogier, one of the goats of this discipline, is gonna get the job done.
I'm just tired of Ed being at the front. It's just getting too old now. It started as a joke. Now, the more and more it goes on, it's like, this is just getting ridiculous. But I'm going to make it all 3 so far incorrect. I think Sebastian Ogier is going to do it because that Toyota has been quite dominant so far this season across the 2 other rallies. And I think he's entering his 2nd one this weekend. And he got me a point like Kobe did right at the start of the year in Monaco. So I think, I'll go with Sebastian Ogier. But I'm on 3. But Max Verstappen is on for a good season. I could get 23 by the end of it.
And you might just get 23 by the end of it. Yes, I will take Sebastian Ogier to win in the World Rallycross. Can I make my other picks this week too, since I'm not on the grid shows for...
Go for it.
Okay, so what do we got this week?
We've got Formula One.
Oh, Formula One. Let's see. Give me Max Verstappen. I'll take him. Let's see. What else we got? NASCAR at Atlanta. Let's see. Who should we take there? Let's take a Hendrick car. Why not? Give me William Byron. 3 in a row. So,
we've got WEC and IMSA too. So go on, there, you biggies.
12 hours of Sebring. Oh, geez. Let's. Oh man, who do I take? I'm not too confident in the Porsches. I'm not. I don't know. I'm not going to pick the 60. That's for sure. Let's go with the 10. Let's go with the 10 Acura.
Matt, have we got supercars as well?
No.
We don't have any supercars. Their next event is supporting the Grand Prix at Albert Park.
Of course it would be, because
3 weeks' time. So there's 4. Bear in mind, there are 4 supercars races at Albert Park. So there's 4 pick a winner points up for grabs.
And we can't see any of them. We can't see any of them.
So
except on TV.
Exactly. They're not on TV, and they're not on Supercars' own YouTube channel because of F1 license. So let's hope someone puts them up of Australian television to YouTube, because then we can see them. Just quickly before we hand back to Kobe with the news, Hots and Knots coming up. So guys watching live, get your Hots and Knots ready to fire in the comments when we get to Hots and Knots, and it's back to Kobe with the rest of the week's news.
Yeah, we got 4. I want to correct something. Sorry, Kobe. I mentioned that World Rallycross is for its next week. Formula E is actually next week. They'll be at Sao Paulo. So busy week for pick a winner. We got Formula E, so that means Edward's probably going to get another point.
Yeah.
We also have NASCAR's at COTA, and then of course MotoGP. MotoGP kicks off, and so Josh will be pretty busy with Moto 2 and Moto 3 in 2 weeks on the Encore show.
I'm covering them on the YouTube this year, some live, some highlights, and I've been looking through it as well, and it's literally like, I do not know how I'm going to get through this year already, and we haven't even properly started yet. So far we've been tiptoeing into this year. We haven't even started running yet. By July, when everything's on the same weekend, we'll have like 9 of the 13 events on the same day. We are just sprinting back and forth from everywhere. I'm not looking forward to it.
You got USF Pro next week too. So I got the USF
That's it, yeah.
next week. So obviously I'll bring you that on the Encore show. All right, let's go to Kobe Lambeth with the news.
Yeah, we have a lot of racing coming up throughout the year. By July, we're probably going to need to go to a tropical island somewhere and just throw the phone in the ocean so nobody will disturb us until we're ready to come back. And also a reminder, be sure to drop who you think's going to win the World Rally Championship Rally Mexico down in chat below. And if you do it before we go off the air tonight, we'll display it on the screen. And with that said, next, here's some more motorsports news from around the world. After spending a year away from Indy Next competition, Toby Sowery will return for 5 races later this season. Sowery will drive for HMD Motorsports at Barber Motorsport Park and both doubleheader race weekends on the new Detroit Street Course and WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca. He previously competed in 2 Indy Next seasons in 2019 and 2021, finishing 3rd and 9th. In the championship in 2019, he got his only Indy Next win at Portland International Raceway, home of Grid Network. Now the 2022 Radical World Finals champion will get another shot in American Open Wheel Racing to further showcase his skills. Photo courtesy of HMD Motorsports. In the NASCAR Xfinity Series, JD Motorsports has parted ways with the driver of the number 4 Chevrolet, Bailey Curry. Garrett Smithley will replace Curry for the remainder of the 2023 season in that car. Marketing partner Trophy Tractor will serve as the sponsor, and for team owner Johnny Davis, he turns to Smithley, who has driven for him in previous seasons. In a statement, Davis said he's happy to have Smithley back with the team, praising the driver for being easy to work with and having the talent to get the most out of the JDM cars. And if you're hoping to see NASCAR return to Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway, that was a promising update. Late last night from Tennessee, commissioners on the Nashville Fair Board approved an agreement that would allow Bristol Motor Speedway to operate the Fairgrounds Speedway. The final vote was 3-2, so very close. However, the proposal still needs to get approval by the Metro Council before reaching the Metro Sports Authority. We've included a link to an NBC Sports article in the video description. And next, here's a statement from President and General Manager of Bristol Motor Speedway, Jerry Caldwell, and the graphics you're about to see are courtesy of the track. And right here, they start off by saying, "We are thankful to the Nashville Fair Board for supporting the vision to restore the historic Fairgrounds Speedway. They invested a lot of time vetting this opportunity, and we agree it provides a financially responsible future for the Speedway while shifting the risk off taxpayers to a private operator and completes the restoration of Fairgrounds with improvements like a state-of-the-art sound reduction wall that benefits the surrounding neighborhoods. We look forward to working with the Metro Council in the weeks ahead and believe that they will also agree that this is a smart plan for the future of the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway." And that right there from Jerry Caldwell. And I know the past couple of weeks throughout the show, we've been talking about all the road course ringers planning to compete in the Cup race at COTA, but Kaulig Racing is going to be bringing one of the most talented dirt racing drivers in America to the NASCAR Cup Series for Bristol Dirt. A big star in dirt late model racing, he's on the screen. Jonathan Davenport will make his Cup debut at Bristol Dirt, driving the number 13 Chevrolet for Kaulig Racing with sponsorship from Nutrient Ag Solutions. Due to his accomplishments in dirt racing, everyone refers to him as Superman, and NASCAR Cup champion Kyle Larson has given him plenty of high praise. Last year, Davenport won 24 races in super dirt late models, and he's won many major dirt races throughout his successful career. He's also a 3-time Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series champion. The photo you see on the screen, courtesy of Jonathan Davenport Racing. And with the month of May right around the corner, I can't believe we're in the middle of March. Then we have April, and then boom, the month of May, the Indy 500 is coming fast. Dreyer and Rumble made a major driver announcement for the 107th Indianapolis 500. Ryan Hunter-Reay will drive the number 23 Chevrolet for the team, the 2012 NTT IndyCar Series champion. Didn't compete in IndyCar races last season. Instead, he worked with young driver Callum Milot, competed in SRX, ran a few INSA races, and worked with Cadillac on its prototype program. Now the 2014 Indy 500 champion is back in a ride that showed a lot of speed last year with Santino Ferrucci behind the wheel. The graphic courtesy of Dreyer and Reinbold. And next, a little announcement. Tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, the same time that this show started tonight, be sure to check out our newest episode of Life on the Grid. Ben Snyder and I had the pleasure of sitting down with NASCAR Wheeling Euro Series competitor who primarily works as a cameraman for Ukrainian TV, Igor Romanov. We invite you to make some popcorn, get a drink, and listen to the Ukrainian race car driver talk about what it's been like to live through the emotions of war for over a year now in a Grid Network exclusive. Igor and his family had to flee Kyiv, Ukraine, as Russia launched its full-scale invasion on February 24th, 2022. Plus, we talk plenty of motorsports as well, and this is an episode that you all do not want to miss at all. It was quite an honor being able to talk to Igor and listen to everything he had to say.
I've just added that to my list. Anyway, time for Hots and Knots as well. And this is a fantastic series that Matt introduced. So I'm going to hand over to you, Matt.
Yeah, thanks, Josh. Good to see Brands Hatch getting a visual mention there on the Grid Network. First of many times, hopefully, this year. Yes, Hots and Knots. It's the best and worst from the week that was. We'll go around the panel. And because it's my segment, that means I get to start. And we'll start with Hots. And mine is proof yet again there is only one person on this world, on the planet at the moment, that you would bet your life on to win a race, and that was Shane Van Gisbergen on Sunday at Newcastle, coming from miles back, with a tyre advantage over Chaz Mostert to get the win in the second race. Didn't quite go his way in the first one, although he did win it on the road before the cool box disqualification that both the Red Bull cars got. But again, another drive from SVG to add to the mega list, as I tweeted on Monday, of absolute mega drives. So that's my hot. Casey is new to Hots and Knots, so he is going to be next up with his hot.
Okay, so my hot is going to go to Tyler Reif. Have he won his first ever ARCA Menard Series race at Phoenix at just 15 years old? Yeah, what a talented kid. His older brother Tanner Reif, of course, competes for BMR. So Tyler took the win. He's actually one of the youngest drivers to win in that series. So Tyler Reif is my hot of the week.
My hot is going to go to the new generation of supercars. I thought it was a very entertaining couple of races we had at Newcastle. A lot of close action, and the cars do seem that they can race a lot closer. It's not always a great track to have a little bit of think of as well. It is a very tight street course, but I found it very entertaining to watch as well. Crucially, the noise is still the same as well. The cars look very cool, very futuristic, got away from the sort of stocky, blocky British touring car type cars that we saw back in 2010s. Even the touring cars have sort of evolved now as well. Times have changed as well. Touring car racing is changing, and it's moving into more of a hybrid electrical future. So the look changes, and I thought it was fantastic. And I must say as well, great to see as well that the sporting directors as well very much on it with the scrutineering of the cars. Very annoyed though, because I had Shane Van Gisbergen to win. I don't know if I kept my point or not.
Yeah, I had him to win the second race, so I did get a point for that, but I didn't have him to win the opener. Time for knots. I'll go first again. I've actually got two. Again, it's my segment, so it's my rules. They're only small, so I'll get them in quickly. And we'll go back to Newcastle, where last year Tickford Racing had a terrible year for crash damage. And again, it's already begun with James Courtney missing the second race on Sunday because he crashed in the shootout and wrecked the Snowy River Caravans entry. And then young Declan Fraser didn't even make it to the start line on Sunday because he got wrecked on the crossing the grid hatchings and hit the pit wall. So a terrible start already for Tickford. My second knot, and I hate to give him a knot, but it's Mike Joy.
Yeah, I know where you're going with this one.
From Sunday. Mike Joy doesn't need to be doing that. I'm sorry. Just leave Twitter alone. Not him, but, turn your notifications off, Mike. Leave these people to bleat on Twitter, and you do your thing. Casey.
Somewhere, I'm sorry, Casey. Somewhere, Ben is literally just.
He is.
He's grabbing his laptop and just throwing it across the room.
I put that in just for Ben.
By the way, before we get to my knot, only one Cup driver is running an Xfinity this weekend. That is Justin Haley. He'll be driving the number 10 for Colleague Racing, and 0 Cup drivers will be in the truck race this week.
Wow.
That is.
Thank you, motorsport gods. I can give them the balls back now.
Yeah. Kyle Busch still has 4 more truck races and 3 more Xfinity races to run. So that is.
We're getting there.
Yeah, we are. My knot is going to everyone that got penalties today in NASCAR. So that's that's who gets my knot of the week.
Well, I'm surprised at you, Matt, because I thought you might go for the Aussies, their race as well. The Aussie cars.
Yeah, no, it wasn't their fault. It was race control.
I was on about race control. That's my knot. Race control failing to put out a full cushion or a safety car when we've got a massive pile up at the end of the last lap, failing to show the checkered flag, and then allowing 3 separate accidents to block the track. The amount of carbon fiber crash damaged cars being out the entire weekend was unbelievable. And then just as the cars were approaching the biggest crash end of all, they threw the red flags. So the stewarding sort of fell asleep there as well. But it was scary to watch because we had some drivers who backed off and got hit full force. I mean, a similar thing happened in GP3, I think, in Spa one year, and they didn't throw the checkered flag out and they had to red flag it, and everyone just kept gunning it. And it's a scary thing. Yeah.
I remember that.
And it's a scary thing because some drivers back off and some are still going full throttle. So you've got one thing as a race director is to make sure you run it safely, and you do that. Yeah, I'm not surprised if there might be a change in the Aussie racing cars race direction for Australia. Well, it will be because it'll be the FIA. So going forward after that, round 3 of the season.
Not sure where they pop up next, but if you haven't seen that, check it out. It's on my Twitter because I clipped it up. So head over to Twitter at Matt White Racing, and the video's there from, I think it was the second race, that they called the race short on time certain, then didn't put the flag out, then there was a call that the race was over. Some people backed off after the first call, and then there was a shunt. There was already a crash around the track, which made them go, "Oh, let's stop it now." And it was an absolute mess. Great racing, Aussie racing cars, when it goes well, but when it doesn't go well, it looks like that.
Looks like a rubbish Easter Sunday race, doesn't it? Down at Donington Park as well in the freezing cold, and nothing ever goes right.
Yeah, something out of Brayfield, Destruction Derby. Yeah. Figure of 8 racing, something like that.
Oh man, I love that sequence so much. But it
more
is
next week.
Time. Yeah, more next week. Can't wait for that. Okay,
because we got WEC, we got let's see, we got World Rally Championship, we got NASCAR, and we got Formula 1 and F2. And then on the encore side, we got F2, Xfinity, and trucks. Going to be a very, very busy weekend across for the Grid wrap-up show and for the Grid encore show. So, by the way, we'll be the Grid encore show, even though I am on this show full time as well. So 2 shows for me this week. So it'll be Grid Live Encore on Monday, Grid Tonight on Wednesday, and random appearances during the wrap-up show and preview show during the year. So
sounds great, Casey. Pleasure to have you on board permanently as well. And also, call me and Matt back after Australia, because that weekend is literally chaos for us. I don't think we sleep because you've got.
I'll be sleeping. Trust me. I'll be sleeping.
If you know about
I'll be sleeping.
Good point. Yeah, it's like F2, F3, F1 in Australia, and then we go over. I think Formula E's in Rome. I think there's a MotoGP. I think is in Argentina or somewhere or other, and then we've got Long Beach coming in as well. It's a very messy. Or is it Texas? It's Texas. It's a very messy schedule.
Yeah, Texas Beach is in a few weeks. Yeah, and then MotoGP in Portugal, and then Argentina. MotoGP is going to be around for a lot, and then we got of course we got Moto 2 and Moto 3.
Moto E.
Yeah. Do we cover Moto E?
I think I'll throw it in the encore show if it's on, because you can never tell these days. But it's a world championship now, so yeah.
Well, here's the thing though: MotoGP, Moto 2, and Moto 3 and Moto E are the same exact schedule. So
yeah, makes it so much easier as well to follow.
Yeah.
Go on. Owl says, Grid Network, do you think the Nashville Superspeedway and the Fairgrounds can coexist on the same schedule? Oh, good question, Ian.
That's an interesting question. I think that's a question SMI is going to have to figure out. I don't know. I mean, Nashville Fairgrounds is right in the heart of downtown Nashville. Nashville Superspeedway is in the sticks a little bit, so I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. I mean, they just turned that track back in there just 2 years ago, and But the thing is, I think we need to find a way to see what that place can do, as well. So I don't know. It's an interesting thing that SMI is going to have to figure out.
Going to be very interesting. Right, taking a look at our upcoming schedule. Friday morning, 9 a.m. Eastern, women in motorsports as well. Saturday morning, 9 a.m. Eastern, Kobe and Casey will do a special Grid Live pre-race show for the IMSA 12 Hours of Sebring and recap the WEC 1,000 miles of Sebring. Saturday, noon Eastern, the regular Grid Live pre-race show with F1, NASCAR and WRC. And I think at the same time as well, we'll be gearing up for qualifying for Formula One as well. So that's going to be fantastic. And I think an hour before. Sunday, Grid Live wrap-up, 90 minutes after the NASCAR Cup Series race at Atlanta Motor Speedway. And Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern, Grid Live encore as well, recapping Formula 2 in Saudi Arabia, plus trucks and Xfinity at Atlanta. Now, please do subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you for helping us reach the milestone of 500 subscribers. Now, let's see if we can get our ambitious goal of 1,000 subscribers before the Indy 500 on May the 28th. At the moment, we're less than 25 subscribers away from hitting 600. Tell your friends and family and anyone about Grid Network and get them to subscribe as well. Don't forget to hit the bell to get the notifications as well at the icon at the top of the page. You can't miss it. Now, follow our social medias as well across all of our platforms and visit gridranking.com. And do take 5 minutes to invest in the Grid Network via Patreon. Join Colin, Mark, Shell, Robin, and David investing each month in the Grid Network. We encourage you to join the amazing group of people who keep us on the air. And once we hit $500 per month, we can start expanding our coverage, adding new members to the team, and increased Grid Network presence on site as well, covering the races from the track and more content. Link is in the video description. And if you want to do a one-time donation, click on the Buy Me a Coffee link, get your name on the board and invest as much as you want. Consider buying a specific on-air personality as well, a cup of coffee, and I'll thank you on the air as well. Now, for Kobe Lambeth at the podium finish, there you are. Hello, Kobe. Casey Campbell and Matt White from Grid EPI. I'm Joshua Birch. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Good night.
Thank you for watching us right here on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe and check out some of our other videos, including Life on the Grid, where we interview folks from the motorsports industry. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.